Hey everyone, welcome back, and let's quickly go over Peritya in this video. Since if you are trying to complete the Corrosion core of Klukai, Peritya and Mechty, or even if you just want to provide some good support to your Klukai, you wanna build your Peritya, and this guide might be helpful to you. I wanna go over and cover the essential stuff you should know before you build her and how to utilize her fully in your Corrosion comp. So without any more nonsense, let's jump into it. Peritya is an AoE Corrosion DPS character. She is a standard SSR character and you can even get her for free from the dispatch room gacha. But why do you need to build her? If you don't have her, should you pull her from the standard banner right now? Is the priority above pulling for V3 QJ or V2 Tololo? And how many dupes are optimal? You might have these questions, so let's talk about these points. By herself, she is a pretty underwhelming SSR unit, but she moves up quite a few tiers when played along with Klukai and Mechty in the Corrosion trio. Peritya acts as a battery for Klukai's ult spam, and that works extremely well for a V6 Klukai. Does that mean she is bad with V0 or V3 Klukai? Not exactly. She can still be useful for a low dupe Klukai, although in that case the usefulness is very limited. A low dupe Klukai and Peritya can still do extremely good at mobbing stages but won't be as good at bossing. And Peritya needs a V6 Klukai to shine the most at bossing stages like Girls Frontline. But you wanna still build Peritya because for the bossing stages your aim is to use a V6 Klukai anyway, even if you don't have her, by borrowing from your platoon mates. And you wanna support that Klukai with your build Peritya, since it's very cost effective for you to build a standard SSR unit than getting a V6 Klukai of your own. So how does that interaction work? Here's the TLDR. Peritya does a support attack for each instance of ally AoE damage, and she can do it 6 times per turn. With Klukai, you want to spam her ult every turn, and her ult has 6 cooldown that can be reduced from ally support attacks. Your goal is to reset the ult every turn as well. Now V0 Klukai can only ult a boss once per turn. V3 plus she can ult a boss twice per turn. V0 Klukai ult does 2 ticks of AoE damage to boss. V3 Klukai does 3 ticks of AoE damage to boss, but V6 Klukai does 7 ticks of AoE damage to boss. That means Peritya does 2 support attacks with V0 Klukai, 3 support attacks with V3 Klukai, and all of her 6 support attacks with V6 Klukai. So you see the difference. And with Mechty in that team, each Peritya support attacks now do buffed corrosion damage to the boss. This sequence of play allows Peritya to gain back all of her convection index each turn for her ult to be available, and all these support attacks also helps Klukai reset her ult as well every turn. Now you see why this corrosion trio can be so good and why Peritya is an integral part of it. And the best part is, Peritya is very much a complete unit at V0, so you don't need to pull for dupes. Above V0, her next usefulness comes at V6, but you are way better off pulling QJ and Tololo dupes over that, so I would recommend to just get her one copy if you don't have her and build her for Klukai. V6 Klukai plus V0 Peritya is enough. As for her weapon recommendation, best choice is the Battle Pass SSR machine gun, but that's not F2P, so the F2P best option is her signature SSR, which I wouldn't recommend to get from the shop over other options, and honestly would advise to just pray that you get lucky when you lose 50-50 in your standard banner. But if you can afford to, then get a copy from the banner, otherwise the SR weapon is your only option now. Now that we are aware of Peritya's role and importance in the Corrosion team comp, let's quickly go over her skills to figure out her kit. Peritya's skill 1 is an AoE corrosion damage that can dispel buffs from enemies. It can be improved with a fixed key to do more stability damage, at which point it can be considered against bosses, although it has a 2-turn cooldown. Her skill 2 is another AoE damage. Although the radius is small, the main utility of this skill is that it pulls enemies to its center, which can be useful in mobbing stages to displace enemies from behind cover to an open spot. Her ultimate is a massive AoE corrosion attack in a square ring shape. In mobbing stages, if you can hit multiple enemies with this attack, the damage is increased, but in bossing, the damage itself is not that impressive. Her passive is her core mechanic. This allows her to do an AoE support attack for each instance of her allies' AoE damages. She can do up to 6 support attacks per turn. And as mentioned earlier, while this is usually physical type damage, with Mechty this support attacks becomes corrosion damage as well. Another thing to note here is that you don't want to move her in the battlefield a lot, since you can gain damage enhancement from leftover mobility. So in boss battles, ideally you wanna park her in a safe spot and keep attacking from there. Now on to her vertebrae levels. As I mentioned in the beginning, she has a complete kit at V0, and her upper vertebrae levels does not drastically change her kit or enhance her abilities by a lot. So I'm not gonna waste your time going over each. The only worthwhile upgrade that can be useful is her V6, where she can do 4 more support attacks per turn. That's a total of 10 support attacks each turn. Now let's talk about our weapon choices. You have two SSR choices, Mjolnir from the Battle Pass and Optical Illusion, which is a signature from the standard banner or from the shop. Honestly, the Battle Pass machine gun Mjolnir is better in practice than her signature. You want more attack stats, always on a DPS, and it also synergizes better if you don't move her around, which is how you wanna play her against the boss stages. Her signature might be a bit better against mobbing stages, but if you are F2P, that's your only SSR option anyway. Ideally, you don't wanna pull specifically for it or buy it from the shop and get it eventually when you lose a 50-50. But if you can, just get one copy. As for other options, you only got SR choices and you wanna give her the signature Pesenek over Model Arm. Okay, on to her build now. If you are using her with Mechty, you definitely want the Corrosive boost set. But without Mechty, the phase strike set is good on her. The substats priority is as follows: attack percentage, then flat attack, then crit rate percentage, and then crit damage percentage. Standard DPS stuff. You wanna target 2200 plus attack, a 40 to 70% crit rate range, and 130% plus crit damage for an in-game full build. Her best in-slot fixed keys are temporary system maintenance, impromptu cat and mouse game, and friendly contact. As for the common keys, first of all, prioritize them on Klukai first. Peritya can work even without them, but the best choices besides her own are Vipli, Dasabnaya, and Litera's common keys, and any other DPS keys with attack percent and crit rate percentage will work. For her skill rotation, you wanna utilize her ult the maximum times, which could be difficult to upkeep in mobbing stages, but as discussed earlier, could be done in bossing with Klukai. But besides the ult, her skill 1 is also useful in scenarios to dispel enemy buffs, so a general rotation could look like this. Now, you technically can use her outside the Corrosion core with any team who's stopping you, but let's be honest, you are gonna only use her with Klukai. And no way she's getting a spot in any other team comps when there are better choices. And in the Corrosion core, you also definitely want Mechty here, as she is the one that will actually buff Peritya's damage potential, while Peritya will work to battery Klukai. Simple as that. And then add any 2 more units, ideally a healer if needed. So that leaves us with the final recommendation. It's pretty straightforward. Get her V0 and stop for now. Build her up so she is useful with Klukai plus Mechty. Then look for an opportunity to get her a SSR weapon. Battle Pass 1 is better than her signature, but it's up to you. And in future, aim towards her V6. That's all. And that's it for Peritya. Let me know in the comments if you are building her. Are you planning to build the full Corrosion core or just because you like her? If you enjoyed the video, feel free to drop a like and subscribe. And if you want to directly show your support, you have the option to join the channel membership or send a super thanks. Those will be super appreciated. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next one and I'll catch you then. Goodbye.